like it a lot. He would just be chilling like, and bro, let me put you on game. Come around at 5. I always see you with that guy. Super hard. Pause. Ooh, you feel me? Hey, what up, y'all? Welcome back. Today I'm going to be breaking down a sample I made. It's like a 70s soulful vintage sample. I'm going to be going in depth about what plugins I used, how I process it, and how I mix and master it to really give it that vintage sound. So yeah, let me just play the sample first. That's how it sounds after I processed it. I did pitch it up a little bit and added some effects after I rendered it out. I actually started with this chord progression here. It's honestly pretty simple, but what makes it give it that tension, I put some notes off scale right here, like this D. It was originally supposed to be up here because it's a major 7. I was just messing around and realized that it sounded way better with the D sharp. Just sounds way more like jazzy and bluesy. And as you can see, I left like a lot of space right here because that really gives it a nice like call and response. It's super common in like jazz, soul, neo soul to have those pauses, because in those pauses I let the drums play and the bass play, I think, in this sample. So just make space in the main chord progression and everything else will fall into place. And I did add a lot of bass notes in this one. Here's the regular chord without them. Just gives it more tension. So this is a C major 7, and then I went up to an E minor 7. And this is supposed to be an F major 7, but like I said, I moved down the D sharp. And I literally have no like music theory knowledge when it comes to jazz and neo soul, because it can get crazy. Honestly, it can get real crazy with this chord progression and inversions and all that shit. So what I did for this one, I literally just moved notes around until it sounded good. This is probably like some complicated ass chord, but I just have no idea what it's called. But it sounds good. So after this chord, it goes back to an E minor 7 and then back to the main chord, which is C major 7. And then it repeats. This started as a diminished chord, but I literally just fucked around with the inversions and the notes to whatever this chord is. I think it's probably like, I don't even know. But yeah. Kind of give it more tension with all these notes bundled up here. The closer like the notes you have, like if you have like 2 notes together like that, or if they're bundled up like this, it gives it a nice sounding tension, and then it resolves back to that C major, which is a pretty chord. Just sounds nice, you know what I mean? All I added was the fruity flanges and 2 EQs. This one, it was really, there was like no treble on this one, so I just boosted the treble a little bit and took out some of the muddy mids and then cut off a lot of the low end. I copied and pasted that chord progression and then just put it into a different VST, which was a heat up preset called Grand Stage. And this one had a lot more high end. This one just made it sound a lot more bluesy. All I added to this one was vinyl and Cymatics Origin. I love the Origin plugin, bro. It's like one of my favorite free plugins. But this one, it just gave it like a little bit of a detuned feeling. See, if I turn it up, you could really hear it. See, that's like at the highest. And then I used Cymatics Origin on the vintage synth preset. I lowered the sample rate, which pretty much just gets rid of some of the high end, kind of dampens it a little bit. And the saturation gives it like a gritty type of feeling. And then I also added an EQ. Then I just put a low pass filter, getting some of the high end. This is how both of them sound together. I panned that piano a little bit to the right, and the lower one, I put a little bit on mono. And then after I added those 2 pianos, I was like, damn, it needs like an organ or like a higher type of key and something super recognizable. So I added an organ. And this is the MIDI for that organ. With the organ, I did this little run thing. in between the pause of the pianos. Like I said, when you leave a space in between, you allow other instruments to come in and shine. As you can see, it like really complemented it. This is literally just a scale run, and then I picked a note that sounded good. And with these chords, I literally just copied the main chords, but I changed a couple of notes right here. The original chords, it just sounded too muddy because there was too much of the same notes playing. It was getting the same frequency. And with the organ, you don't really need to stack a bunch of notes because it can get muddy super quick. Organs are super wide and they just have a bunch of frequencies going on and shit. So I just rendered that MIDI out, and then what I added to this one was some fruity reverb. Kind of widened it a bit, and then I added more of the vinyl. And after I added that vinyl, I added some tau chorus. And this literally just widened it even more. And then after that chorus, I just added some EQ, getting a lot of the low end and some of the high end. Yeah, that's how they sound together. Super hard. Pause. Oi. And then after that, I added these bells from another heated preset, the glockenspiel one. Messed with the velocities a little bit to have it sound a little bit real. And then this bell is also ending on that out of key D sharp, so it just gave it a lot more tension. And then I just copied and pasted this over and changed the last notes. And all I added to that was tau filter. I wanted it to start more stereo, and then as it's being played, go to the right ear. As you could hear it, let me play it. It just gradually gets more to the right ear. And then I added some reverb with Supermassive. I think it was the Magellanic Room preset. And that just made it super like vibey and ambient. Kind of a little creepy, but I like it. And then I got a lot of the low end out. I didn't do too much EQ on that because I wanted the highs mainly. So yeah, let's see how those four sound together. Super vibey, brother. But yeah, after I did that, I was like, it needs some percussive elements. I need to add some like rhythm. So I found this little Clave one shot, which is like those little sticks, I think. I like it. I like it a lot. That gave it some bounce and like super jazzy. All I added to that was a little bit of reverb and some EQ, getting some of the highs out because the transients were just like not hitting my ear right. And then I panned it a little bit to the left. But that was it with that one. And then I added this little bass line with my Ibanez bass. But keep in mind, it was actually dying because there's a battery for the pickups. So it like came out super distorted and weird. So I tried to fix it with processing. Like, it sounds super grunge, and that's not usually how it sounds. It's just because my shit was dying. But I just added some guitar rig to get rid of the noise, and then some compressor, and then I added MoMA, which is like one of my favorite plugins for low end and drums. It just makes it sound super nice. I have it on glue odd, and I barely put it up by 3.1. And then I added some wave shaper to just make it sound a little bit more distorted. And then for the EQ, I know it looks whack. It looks fucking crazy. I only did this because of the bass pickup was dying. And it was getting like no low end. Like, it wasn't picking up any sub frequencies. It was just being all crackly and like distorted and weird. So I was like, fuck it, I have to do this. But I never do that when I'm processing my bass. It's only because my shit was dying and it sounded whack. But I wasn't gonna go get a 9-volt battery on the quicks. Like, who has 9-volt batteries? So after I did that bass, I was like, damn, like this really put it together. It gave it more swing. And then I was like, damn. I started looking for like phrases, some trumpets or flutes and some shit. I settled with this one that I found like super simple. Just, I think it's holding just like 1 or 2 notes. Super simple. And all I added to that was some distortion, a little bit of magic dice. I think I gave it like reverb. And then I just added some EQ, boost some of the mids a little bit. Got a lot of the highs out because a lot of the right here, 5K and up, is where like the air, the breath when they're playing, like the. So I like to cut a lot of that out. But I like the fullness that the saxophone gave it. And then I panned it a little bit to the right, 43% to the right. And then I wanted to make it sound a little bit more majestic. Like I said, I like to imagine like there's a band playing. Okay, what would the drummer do right now? He would just be chilling like, or they'll hit the ride a little bit. So yeah, I added those little chimes and the cymbal roll. Just makes it sound so much more majestic, especially the chimes. And then after I added the chimes and the cymbal, I was like, it needs vocals, but I kept looking for phrases and I kept searching and nothing was just fitting. So I was like, fuck it, I'll sing some. And so I just whipped this bad boy out and sing some. And they honestly don't even have to sound good. Like, you don't even have to pitch correct them. Because back then, they didn't really use pitch correcting. I looked it up and it was like, didn't become popularized till like the 90s. The way that they would pitch correct was like through the tape. That shit looks crazy. I was like, damn, we have it so easy now. Like, this shit is easier than ever, bro. All I gotta do is, we're so blessed. Like, this shit is so easy now. Anyways, so yeah, I sang these. And bro, let me put you on game. When you're making these soul samples, these jazz samples, whatever, the more layers you have, the less shitty it sounds. Like, look, I'm gonna play an individual vocal and it's not gonna sound as good. Like, watch. Like, see, it doesn't sound that crazy. But when I add these layers, I just think it sounds a lot better. If you feel me, you feel me. You feel me? And I tried using autotune, it just sounded too modern. So that's why I went into new tone and manually pitched it. And what I did, so I could tune them to my scale, I went here to the little scissors and then scale, C major right here. But yeah, and then after I pitch corrected them, I don't have the full version of new tone. You just put Edison on your master channel, go like this, and then record it, and go back to Edison, stop it, and then drag it out, and then you have the pitch corrected sample. I actually have a full video going over how I make vocal samples, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description, or you could actually click here, I think. So yeah, this is how they sound without any effects. I need you now. I really tried hard to make these sound as vintage as possible. So I maxed out the mixer rack. First I added some compressor just to get it nice and level. And then I added a de-esser, just cut out the S's. And then I added some noise reduction. Got a lot of the low end and the muddy frequencies out. And the high end as well. And then I brought back up the high end with the Maximus on the Sound Good as a preset A. Then I had some reverb. And then I added cymatics, origin again. On the next door preset, all this did was pretty much lower the sample rate a little bit, add some movement, and made it sound more sampled. And then I added this nice delay with replica. I put on the vintage digital mode just so it could sound more grainy and old. And after that, I added some EQ, getting rid of more of the low end. I reduced the highs a little bit too. And then after that, I just added a vocal doubler because I felt like it wasn't wide enough. It was just too like watered down. I don't know. But yeah, and then I also reduced some of the highs on the built-in EQ right here. So yeah, that's the vocals, and here's how it sounds when I added the vocals. Alright, so I was pretty content with how it sounded. All it needed was some drums, just to give it more balance, more feeling, an actual band feeling. So I started off adding the hi-hat just to give it some rhythm. And the plugin I use for this is a free one. It's called SSD Sampler. And it comes with 3 free presets, which are these. If you want more, you have to buy them. I'm pretty sure I used the free Hugo preset for this one. Pretty dope. And this one you can get real choosy with how you want the drums to sound. You could tune them, you could pan them, you could adjust the attack, all that. Like, you can get real choosy with how you want it to sound. So I started off with the hi-hat, but I didn't like how punchy it was. I kind of wanted to sit further back in the mix. So I used my favorite plugin, Pank. It's a free. I use it to sound design all my drums. I just brought down the transients a little bit so it wasn't as punchy. Added some more air, which is high end, and then brought the tail up a little bit. And then I just added some reverb, but like barely. I turned it all the way down right here with the knob. And then I cut out some of the low end with this one too. The toms, they carry a lot of the rhythm. Super simple. I don't want to overdo it with the toms because when this gets sampled, is all the low end, most of the low end is going to be cut out. So You don't really gotta make them too crazy. I also added panks on the toms as well. Put down the transients a little bit and the tail, because there was like a lot of built-in reverb from the plugin. It was just so muddy, so I put the tail down a lot. Like, here's how it sounds without panks. And then here's how it sounds with panks. It just dampens it a little bit more. And also add a reverb to the toms on the drum room preset. It's clutch. I use it with like almost all my drums. Just gives it a little bit of reverb, like if it was recorded in a room. And the last thing I added was a ride, because I felt like it was missing some rhythm and some like timekeeping type. You know what I mean? And the hi-hat was just playing as if it was a snare on the 2. The hi-hat was just pretty much acting as a snare, just playing on the 2 and 4. And so I needed like a timekeeping type perk, and so I added the ride. And all I added to that ride was reverb and panks. And I actually made the transients higher on this one because I wanted the ride to poke out a little bit more. The hits, put the air up a little bit, and left the tail as is. Here's how it sounds without panks. Here's how it sounds with panks. See, the hits are a little bit more audible, so that's why I used it. And then I just added some reverb, the drum room preset again on that one, and some EQ, cutting out the low end and a little bit of the high. And that was pretty much it. And the way I go about arranging it is I think of it as a full 70s soul song. And they have a chorus, they have a pre-chorus, they have a hook, they have a verse. So on the verse, it's more chill. On the chorus, it's pretty much all the instruments. Make sure they're not clashing with each other. Like as you see here on the chorus, I took out the bells in the beginning and only put them at the last 2 bars because it was clashing too much with the organ. And then right here, it's just the instrumental part. And then here's like a chill, versey part. Girl, you know I love you. I'm always thinking of you. But when I come around at 5, I always see you with that guy. He's got my heart. You feel me? You feel me? Like, no, like, that's literally how I freestyle when I make these type of samples. I'm not even playing. Don't overthink it when you're arranging. Just go slowly. I just stemmed it out, put a hi-hat in between so they know where the cuts are. I rendered it out. I pitched it up. So this original part is C sharp major because I pitched it up. And then I routed to a track and put couple of effects on it. This is a free plugin. It's literally just a bunch of texture. It's vinyl, soundscape, nature, Foley. Instead of just dragging in audio and then lowering it down and then, I don't know, I just feel like this is more authentic in a way. It also goes to the wave of the sample. Instead of it just being sustained of one sound, it goes to the wave of the sample. So it just makes it sound so much more authentic. And then I just added this tau filter, gradually going up. But yeah, that's what I do post-processing. Sometimes I'll add more of the cymatics origin. But for this one, I didn't need it. Like, it was already sounding vintage. So yeah, that's how I got that full vintage effect. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is I have a drum bus going to all the drums, and it has cymatics origin, fruity reverb, fastest, EQ, panks, and fresh air. So let me show you how the drums sound without those drum bus effects. And then add the effects on the drum bus, and it just makes it sound so much more. But yeah, that's how I make 70s vintage samples. Y'all should stay tuned because next week's video, I'm going to be flipping this sample into a crazy beat. So if you're seeing this right now, it's most likely up already, so go check that video out. Subscribe for more like this. Let me know if y'all want live cook-ups where I'm actually doing it in real time instead of breaking it down. Or let me know if y'all want to see more of these breakdowns. I got more samples to come, more beats to come, more content to come. Just stay tuned. I'm super excited for the new year, y'all. But yeah, I hope y'all are having a good new year. I hope y'all are getting straight to it. And I hope this is the best year of your career. Like, honestly, I hope y'all are doing amazing. Let me know what type of videos I want to see. I love y'all. Bye.